there's beauty in watching movies and cartoons as a child. That's because the cliche plotline of seeing the good guy and the bad guy run each other in circles is fascinating. That tit-for-tat, I hit you, you strike back cliche is what we find amusing in our youth. As you grow, however, you find that this cat-and-mouse game is not restricted to movies or cartoons, but actually has its roots in the real world. Everywhere you look, that cat-and-mouse game is taking place on all levels of life. The difference is that unlike in our beloved childhood cartoons, where every hero and every villain are all but presented on a silver platter, real life often is muddy. The lines between protagonists and antagonists are often so blurred, it's impossible to distinguish with certainty who's in the right. It is this kind of cat-and-mouse game that brings us to the discussion at hand about the ongoing tango between Amazon, the company, and France, the country. This giant multinational company has been at odds with the nation of France regarding the issue of books, and it seems that the dispute is not going to end anytime soon. In fact, there was a period of time where Amazon decided that instead of playing by France's rules, it would rather pay the $1,160 or 1,000 euros fine daily and operate while breaking the rule. What is the dispute about exactly? How did it begin? Who is in the wrong? How will it end? We will answer these questions and more today as we discuss in depth the dispute between Amazon and France. It all started with the basic policy that Amazon has in all but every country. One of Amazon's key points for its bookselling business and its general sales department is its free shipping system. Put simply, for every book you order, you get it delivered to you for free. That's their selling point, and that is how they undercut the competition. Add their free shipping to the discounts that they already provide with their books, and Amazon is basically selling its books at a much cheaper rate than anyone else on the market. When you factor in the fact that Amazon is a multinational company, the fourth largest in the world, with a market capitalization of over $1.7 trillion, you realize that they can easily subsidize the costs incurred by selling at such low prices. This is a cycle that they can do in perpetuity and actually benefit from as they expand their customer base and brand recognition in the process. On the other hand, France prides itself on its literature. They view themselves as one of the countries with uncorrupted cultural literature, and they lean heavily into this element. The country boasts about 20,000 to 25,000 shops that sell books, with about 3,500 to 4,000 of those selling books as their primary business. Among those, 600 to 800 are independent retailers that do not belong to a publishing house, a chain, or a supermarket. Such is the depth of France's bookstore system. Not only do they have high standards, but a lot of their population thrives on it. France is proud of a network of bookstores it says is unique in the world and crucial for culture to reach small towns. In fact, during the COVID-19 pandemic, France added bookshops to the list of businesses deemed essential, and they were able to remain open throughout the lockdowns with added subsidies from the government. At first look, it may seem like there is no cause for conflict, given that both Amazon and France are pushing the agenda for book sales forward. It only takes a deeper look to realize how wrong that notion is. Nothing could be further from the truth. You see, just like in most industries, it is hard for a brick-and-mortar business to compete with an online store. Where you have to deal with the overheads of a physical business daily, online businesses don't have to do that necessarily. When you factor in the difference in size between Amazon and the smaller stores, you realize the competition was never fair from the start. So when Amazon started giving free shipping, where physical bookstores charged delivery fees, the battle lines were drawn in the sand. Amazon was directly undercutting their market. As such, in 2004, France's bookstores took the company to court over its discounts and free shipping, arguing that the online retailer was killing off local businesses. The Tribunal de Grande Instance, a French appeals court in Versailles, then ruled later in 2008 that Amazon was violating the country's 1981 Lang Law with its free shipping offer. That law forbids booksellers from offering discounts of more than 5% off the list price, and Amazon was found to be exceeding that discount when the free shipping was factored in. The company was told to start charging within a 10-day period or pay a daily fine. It was also told to pay 100,000 euros to the French Booksellers Union for the court battle and for the losses it had caused them. That was a huge win for the French bookstores, with the courts having ruled in their favor. The first chess pieces had been moved, and it seemed like France had won this round. But in a huge, unforeseen twist, Amazon officially announced its plan to ignore the court order and pay the fine instead. For a company the size of Amazon, paying $1,160 a day in fines amounted to nothing more than pocket change. Coupled with the buzz that this story was causing, it ultimately appeared as a huge low-cost marketing stunt for Amazon, who were happy to continue paying the fine that inadvertently was advertising their free shipping offer to everyone who could hear. With the original strategy clearly a failure, French bookstores decided to take a different route to solve the problem that aimed to destroy their way of life. They changed their focus to pushing for a law aimed at all online retailers, but most specifically Amazon, that would make it illegal to offer free shipping to French book purchasers. This was on top of the existing 1981 Lang Law that forbade anything more than a 5% discount on new titles. They were aiming to just cut the problem at the root and outright ban the free shipping problem that was giving them such a headache. It took some time to put this elaborate plan in place, but by 2014, everything was ready. The law was enacted, and once again, in this battle of hit, France had responded with a strong right hook to the face of Amazon. This new law forced Amazon to charge for shipping or face being banned from selling in France completely, along with stripping away the 5% discount. This was a huge victory for all the local stores that had, until that point, managed to weather years of low-level, government-aided price fixing. Amazon had no choice but to charge for deliveries or else risk being banned, a prospect that was highly undesirable. The celebration by French bookstores, however, was very short-lived, as Amazon came back with the pettiest counter since the Lyndon B. Johnson and Robert Kennedy feuds. You see, the court had demanded that Amazon charge for its shipping, but had failed to specify an amount. Amazon took advantage of this loophole to its maximum. It gladly agreed to start charging for shipping, and its chosen fee was about 1.5 cents. Yes, you heard that right. Amazon chose to charge a whopping centime per shipment. This was in direct contrast to the $5.82 to $8.15 shipping fee that was normally charged by French bookstores. Once again, Amazon had outwitted the French bookstores, and all within the legal parameters of the law. The French would not take this insolence lying down, so almost immediately they began working on a new legislature, this time more thorough than the last. This time, the French are going with a specified minimum shipping fee to be put into law. That way, the delivery fee is made standard across the board, allowing for equality, at least in this regard. France's National Assembly passed the bill in October 2021, which will impose a minimum delivery fee for books as a way of helping independent bookshops compete with online multinationals. This is not aimed at Amazon alone, but it's hard to not think they are the main target of this legislature. The law is supported by big names, including the President of France, Emmanuel Macron. It is hard to think that Amazon will be able to find a loophole here. For all intents and purposes, it seems that France has landed the knockout blow in what seems to be the last round after a long exchange. As stated before, the lines between hero and villain get blurred as the story progresses. You see, France argues that the free shipping and discounts that Amazon gives cannot be matched by the smaller bookstores, and so as a result, the bookstores will be forced to shut down. From their perspective, Amazon is an American invader threatening the livelihood of its citizens. It is their duty and responsibility to protect that livelihood over the interests of multinational companies. In the words of Culture Minister Roselyne Bachelot, the bill is fully in line with the wish to return to a fixed price for books by leveling out shipping prices. She continued on to say, "This law is necessary to regulate the distorted competition within online book sales and prevent the inevitable monopoly that will emerge if the status quo persists." Given that more than 20% of the 435 million books sold in France in 2019 were sold online, with Amazon and another company accounting for 80% of all online sales, it's hard to argue their monopoly point. On the other hand, Amazon argues that it is actually doing a service to the low-income families in France. If anything, they claim they are bridging that equality gap by providing free shipping to those who would otherwise be unable to afford the books. It is no surprise then that they are not happy about the impending law and are not hesitant in displaying their displeasure about it. Frédéric Duval, managing director of Amazon France, said in a recent statement, "At a time when inflation is making a marked return, and when public authorities are calling for everything to be done to stop it, do we need a law which drives up the cost of books and penalizes residents of small towns and rural areas?" More than half of the books bought on Amazon are from residents of towns of fewer than 10,000 inhabitants, and more than a quarter are from residents of towns of fewer than 2,000 inhabitants. For them, buying online is often the only feasible solution, Duval added. So for Amazon, this French legislature is a gross disservice to the rural communities, and they are the solution. Ultimately, who is in the right is a decision that the viewer will have to make, as both sides seemingly present strong arguments. For both these sides, there is no room to back down. Neither Amazon nor France wants to lose this dispute, as that might end up setting off a chain reaction in precedents that would have much more devastating effects. It is ultimately a waiting game to see what Amazon will do next, having pushed through the first two rounds of this almost 2-decade-old dispute. As to who will win or who is right, we cannot say. What we know for sure, however, is that not all lines are black and white, because in between are shades of gray.